All right, guys, so this is going to be a fun video. I have had this LoneStar Grillz since August 2018. So yeah, it's 2 years. 2 years. I'm going to put that in the title. It has been 2 years since I got my LoneStar Grillz offset smoker, and one of the requests you guys have asked is if I would do a full walkthrough. So I'm going to do that today, and it's going to be fun. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. All right, guys, just to lay the groundwork for today, I want to start off with saying LoneStar Grillz is one of my channel sponsors. I've been working with them for a couple of years. They are about the least demanding sponsor ever. In fact, I don't think they've ever made a single request of me to say or not say anything. So my words are my own. I do a lot of reviews on this channel. Some of those are paid, some of those aren't. I always try to call balls and strikes as fairly as I can, no matter what the situation. Sometimes it's awkward, but I feel like my information, I'm giving it to you because I want you guys to trust me so that you can take that information and make buying choices. And not every grill is perfect. And I'm not perfect, which reminds me, if I end up saying something that, if I misspeak or over the course of time things change, like I've been doing reviews for over 4 years, and there's some reviews that are done in 2017 that are still getting a couple hundred views a day. Sometimes things change over time. I can't change the videos, but I will make corrections and pin those corrections in the comment section below. So please check that if you're watching this too far out in the future. So the plan for today, what we're gonna do is, this is what you guys have requested. I'm gonna do a walkthrough of my actual LoneStar Grillz, talk about all the features, and then I'm gonna go through and talk about the things that I like and the things that I don't like, and who, you know, kind of from the perspective of someone who's been using the grill for 2 years, the things that I feel like I can tell you that maybe other people can't because they either haven't had it long enough or they don't have a YouTube channel. So that's my plan for today. Then I'll kind of give you my thoughts on who this is for, and that may surprise you. My answer on this one's gonna be a lot more nuanced than you think. So please stick around for that, and let's get started on this review. All right, guys, this is it. This is my cooker. This is a 24 by 48 inch horizontal offset smoker. And just to kind of set the ground rules, the reason we call it an offset smoker is because right here is the firebox. You put the wood in on this side, the smoke comes up, goes across the food and out the stack. So that's why it's called an offset, because the firebox is offset from the rest of the cooker. That's also why we call it a stick burner, because usually these burn wood, and so wood sticks, you get the idea. You can also burn charcoal in a cooker like this, but if you're gonna get a big one like this one, charcoal is a very inefficient fuel source. So if I was gonna get a big offset, I just plan on using it as a stick burner. That's kind of one of those expectations you have to have going in there. The smaller offsets work with charcoal with great, just absolutely great. But this is the 24 by 48. Like I said, means it's 24 inches deep and it is 48 inches wide. I went with the single door with the counterweight. You have to have the counterweight because these things are so heavy. The reason why I went with the single door, basically two reasons. One was for YouTube. I knew that I was going to want to move things around, and I didn't want to have to work through two doors to do it. Also camera angles and stuff like that. But also I was told that 48 inches is really the minimum that a smoker can be and still accommodate a whole hog that is big enough to be worth cooking in the first place. So you can fit smaller hogs on smaller cookers, but if it's going to be worth your trouble, you're going to need at least 48 inches. And that was something I learned from Myron Mixon's cooking school, so made sense to me. Okay, so we have the counterweight here. One of the upgrades was I got an extra thermometer so that I could have one on either side. The way this works, where this thermometer is mounted, it's kind of like splitting the average between the lower grate and the upper grate. So the upper grate is about 25 degrees hotter The lower grate is about 25 degrees lower, more or less, but they are pretty accurate. I can adjust the tuning plates where it's within 5 or 10 degrees across the cook chamber, which is really, really nice, except for right here next to where this vent is. This vent is perfectly mounted. It's at grate level, the lower part of the cook chamber. That's what you want. But as all that heat goes by that one spot, there is a little bit of a hot spot there. Once you understand that, you can use that to your advantage. This has a stainless add-on. I got that because I think it looks nice. I also think it's easier to clean up. It's also custom extended out and it's foldable, so if I want to put it out of the way, I can. This looks as good as it did when it was new. Same thing with the paint. The paint on this has sat out in the Texas sun uncovered all of its life, every single bit of it. It's shaded now because I'm shooting this video, but other than that, it's been out in the rain, it's been out of the sun, and it is 99% intact. I don't know what they use. It's magic paint, but it's fantastic. It's held up great. The only spot where I've had any sort of problem is on the Firebox, and it's very, very minimal. You kind of expect that. So initially I wanted the insulated Firebox, but Chris suggested I get the 1/2-inch upgrade instead. And he says that even though he makes more money selling the insulated, he doesn't feel like it's something that people in the South really need. It's more of an investment than is probably worth it unless you live in a really cold climate. Custom metal art, they can do that for you, and they'll put anything. I mean, if you give them a design, they could probably make it. They do a lot of football teams, they do a lot of colleges and stuff like that. Anything you want, they can probably do it. You just have to send them the picture. And then of course, here we have the warming oven. I did a whole video on this. It's great for adding extra space, holding food warm, or hanging ribs. That's what I like doing with it. But I've also cooked steaks in here and everything like that. If you choose not to go with the warming oven, what you get is a griddle plate that is used as both a griddle and an insulator for the top of your Firebox lid. So that protects your paint. That's one thing I like about LoneStar Grillz, is they're always updating. If they have a problem, they fix it and try to find a way to make it even better. So that's what they did here. So one of the other nice things they can do is this upper rack is split. So if I'm going to do most of my cooking on this cooking grate, and that's going to provide most of what I need, I knew that my upper rack was probably going to end up in my garage. So what LoneStar does is they offer this split rack where when you need it, you know, you've got it. There's plenty of space here to cook underneath. By the way, pull out racks that stay put whenever you pull them out. Very, very nice. You would be surprised how many nice pits don't offer that. This is so great because it's really hard to reach in there underneath multiple racks without burning yourself or getting your hands all greasy. But these racks slide out. Rather than having to store this upper rack when I wasn't using it in the garage or just fighting with it, this split option, and you may need to ask them about it, goes right up here. Still have a little extra space up top if I need it for a rack of ribs or two, but it's also out of the way and I don't have to worry about storing it. I love that. The other thing I like about LoneStar is just little things like these handles. Actually, it's a little bright here, isn't it? These handles, these don't rust. These are stainless steel. They're 2 years old. They've been out of the sun the whole time. There's nothing wrong with them. They're as good as the day I bought them. Also, when you raise this up, a lot of times cookers, they will put the handles in a bad spot where there's no possible way for you to reach them without burning your wrist. This is a very, very good spot. There's a lot of little things about this cooker that you can tell LoneStar Grillz has been doing this a really, really long time, and they have a great YouTube channel where they talk about a lot of these features. And he adds lots of freeway noise so you know that you can get there by car. But one of the things he talks about in all these videos is the flanging. The flanging, they spent a lot of time on this stuff. This is what actually seals the inside of the cooker from the outside of the cooker. And they say it's airtight. All the metal, when the lid comes down, all the metal hits at the exact same time. And you see that in the video, you're like, yeah, I'm sure it's good. You know, I'm sure it's good. No, man, this is airtight. I mean, this is practically a submarine. Yeah, I mean, there's no smoke that leaks out of this, even when it gets hot. I've had other cookers where it's just not like that, especially around the Firebox. I've owned a few cookers where as soon as the Firebox gets hot, everything starts shifting to the point where you can't even close the door. Actually, I've only had one that's done that. I don't want to overstate the problem, but only one has warped to the point where you couldn't close the door. But my gosh, you couldn't close the door. This one's not like that at all. I mean, it's firmly braced, it's well built. all the little details, like I said, the handles, their placement, the vents themselves. You would be amazed at how difficult it is to get this right. A lot of times the vents are either designed funny, they have handles that rust, or they're in the wrong place, they're too high up on the grill so you don't have a good flow. All of this is, they've refined it all to the point where it works. It just works. I mean, it's not too much to ask for things to work, but it's not something that any welder can go out and make. Even if you're a good welder, you have to know how to design things so that they work the way they're supposed to, and this cooker does that. Here's a good shot inside the Firebox. As you can see, it is still in great shape. This fire grate, oh my gosh, y'all, 1/2 inch thick. It feels like it weighs about 40 pounds. I'm not sure what it actually weighs. It is massive, and it's designed to last as long as the cooker, and it's in as good a shape now as it was 2 years ago when I got it. I absolutely love that feature. We've also got the water dam there in the back. This whole cooker can be used as a water cooker, and to be honest with you, I totally forgot about that feature until I was right here looking at that. So I may test that out in the future, so subscribe if you want to see that. We've also got the port for the log starter. That is something that I would consider if I didn't already have a weed burner. I use a weed burner to start my fuel, but if that's not something that you have, you might consider that. Every LoneStar grill is ported and ready for that. And then I gotta tell you, my favorite feature about this Firebox is just how big and simple it is. It's very, very wide, and it's flat on the bottom, so it's super easy to clean. So as you can see here, there's no lip right here. So if you want to clean this out, all you have to do is take a rake underneath. You have an unobstructed shot at all your ash, and just scrape it out into a bucket, and you're done. Super easy. It's a little thing, but it's a well thought out, very easy. It's an ease of use thing that I super appreciate. And then this is the famous charcoal basket. Truthfully, this is probably the only upgrade besides the ball valve underneath for draining the cooker. This is probably the only upgrade I think you can't live without. Everything else, I mean, that is one thing that's great about LoneStar Grillz. They designed the pit to give you everything that you need just in the base model. So you're not in a situation where you're buying something only to find out, as soon as you get it home that you actually need other parts to make it work right. If you buy the base level LoneStar Grillz model, I think you'll be happy with it. Again, I would go ahead and opt for that guy right there. That is the ball valve that helps you control the flow of grease. Otherwise, you just got a little screw-on cap that's right there. But other than that and the charcoal basket, I think everything is good to go right off the webpage. So I thought I'd take a moment and talk about just what it's like to cook with this, because that's something you can't really see in pictures. It is, for an offset, it is a dream to cook with. It's 1/4 inch steel with a 1/2 inch firebox. So in the offset cooker world, it has very, very stable temperatures. It's very predictable with no real surprises. I know a lot of you are gonna wonder how often I add logs. And for me, that is probably, it varies because every log is different. Every species of wood is different. The temperatures outside is different. Every cook is different. It could be seasoned, the wood could be seasoned differently, but on average, I would say about every 45 minutes is when I add a log, but that could be anywhere from every 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And the way I control temperatures on this cooker is I want to have a nice clean burn. I don't want to have any of that acridity that you can get when you don't have a nice clean oxygenated fire. So I leave my vents wide open the whole time, and I control the temps with the amount of wood I give it. So if I need to heat it up, I pick a bigger log, or I add logs more frequently, and if I need it to cool down a little bit, I'll pick smaller logs or spread out the amount of time it is before I add another log. And that, again, that works great for me. I think the sweet spot for this particular cooker is around 250 to 300 degrees, though I've cooked anywhere from 200 to 375, but if I'm gonna cook higher than 350, I'm probably just gonna take out the butterfly damper that's between the warming oven and the Firebox and cook direct in the warming oven, because I can get a lot higher temperatures a lot more easily because it's directly over the fire. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, it's a blast to cook on, and it is a pleasure to own, and it's it's just a great cooker. There's a lot of great things about this cooker. I could go on forever, but one thing that matters to me is I got the chance to go down and meet Chris and Amber before Baby Back Maniac ever started, and I walked away with a very favorable impression of them. I really feel like they're a nice family. They're good people. They're going to stand behind their product. I feel like they're people of character, and to me, that's really important. I don't know how you put a price on that. In addition to that, their product is they just do such good work. There's no compromises, but there are a few things I would change. Well, most of the paint is still as good as the day I got it. I mean, with no fading, it blows my mind. The places where there's metal on metal contact, there is rust forming there. I don't know what the solution is to that. I just wish it wasn't there. So around the handles, there's some other places where the paint has worn down, and therefore there's rust there because it's steel. So that's one thing. Another area where there's rust is, I love the metal art. I love it. But between the letters of the metal art, there's spots where rust is forming, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. Every now and then I'll try to tape up around it and spray paint it or oil it. But if you just oil the whole thing, it causes the actual metal art itself to turn brown when the cooker gets hot. And I don't like that. And then like the last thing is at the top of the door, when it closes, there's a mark that goes across the top, kind of where that metal hits metal. I don't know if that's an artifact of the manufacturing process or the painting process or what, but on a pit that otherwise looks pretty remarkably flawless, like it's one of the things that struck me about it. It looks so clean. It has such clean lines, and it's so like there's no little marks or chips or leftover material or anything like some of the other cookers that I looked at. I would rather that not be there. So that's it. That's the things that I don't like. All right, guys, I thought of one more thing I would change while I was editing. I love the stainless steel table, but sometimes I have a hard time getting it to fold down. So I wish that worked a little bit better. Not a big deal, but something I wanted to go ahead and mention. So does that mean I don't recommend it? Absolutely not. I freaking love this grill. Now, do I think you should buy it? That really depends on you. After doing this for 4 years, one of the questions I've noticed I get over and over again is, should I get a pellet grill or should I get an offset smoker? And to me, that is about like asking, should I get a puppy or a banana? Or maybe a horse. They're just two different animals. They're very, very different. I mean, I put the kettle in this shot just to show you how different they are in size. Like this is a 1,600 pound beast, you know, and it's just it's a big investment. It's a big investment of time. I love it. For me, it is like, this is my midlife crisis. This is my convertible that's in the garage that I just love playing with. I love pulling out and messing around with on the weekends. If I was fully retired, this might be the only grill I'd ever cook on, because I cook on it for pleasure and for parties and for, I mean, I don't do catering, but you could do light catering on something like this. Full-time catering, you might want to get something else, something on a trailer. They do that too. And that's kind of my point. If you are an offset guy, this is your offset. Like for the price, you can't beat it. Some of those offsets out there are eye-wateringly expensive. In that world, this isn't a cheap pit, but in that world, this is a bargain, because some of those other people, they charge so much for the accessories. By the time you get something you can actually customize to your liking, it costs the same as a car, you know. And this is just such a great value for what you get. And I've been so happy with my experience with it that I think it's more of a question of, you're an offset person, I think you'll love this. But if you need something else, check their website out. They have other things. They have insulated vertical cookers, which, you know, those you can run those with a temp controller and never touch it. If you're looking for something that set it and forget it, you know, they're gonna have pellet grills coming out soon. They've got Santa Maria style cookers. You know, there are other things that might fit your lifestyle better. Come back to, though, if you're an offset guy, there's nothing like sitting outside, smelling that smoke, eating that authentic wood-fired brisket that tastes like it's supposed to taste. It tastes like barbecue. And then you go to bed at night and you lean over and give your wife a kiss, and she says, "You smell like brisket." And then you're like, yes, my life has meaning. It's a great pit. If you guys want more information on it, I'll put a link right here to my favorite cook. You can click that now. We cook 3 briskets at once. I have a whole playlist of videos that I cooked on this cooker. I'll put that here if you want to check them all out. I really appreciate you guys watching. I love you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.